Hello, everyone. Greetings to you all. And it's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to yet another exciting but insightful morning live session, as we always do. And we are also going to be going through a comprehensive technical analysis of all the financial instruments that we have been monitoring for the week. And in fact, in our watch list bucket, we have the USDJPY, the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, and of course, the USOilSPOT. So we have been monitoring this instrument since the beginning of the week. And this is a backdrop of the weekly analysis I did on all of this commodity. So during the live session today, we are going to be reviewing the 1 hour time frame as always, where it's serving as our execution time frame. But if you do want to understand or have a background knowledge of where we are coming from and how we identify these structures we have on the 1 hour time frame, then it's important that you want to check out the videos, the original videos of this analysis, which I already have in the description box of this current video. And one thing about it is that they are duly timestamped, so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect you want to be looking at for today. So once again, you are welcome on board. And for those who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome. Well, what we simply do here is to come together as a community, gathering in anticipation of both the New York and London trading session. And during this time, we will be reviewing and managing our current positions while we also aim to position ourselves strategically for today's trading session. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business for today. And you know how we do it. The first thing we obviously want to be doing is to check the economic calendar so that we can keep tabs with the fundamental aspect of the market. And you know how important this is for us in this community. These fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movements. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns. So with that being said, let's dive into the economic calendar for today, which is June 20th, Tuesday. And before I go there, please, please let me know in the comment section if the sound quality is quite good. I don't want a situation where the sound quality will be distorted. If it is, please let me know in the comment section so that I can do the appropriate adjustment to make our experience a better one. I'll really appreciate those feedbacks, please. Let me know in the comment section. So with that being said, let's dive into the economic calendar. And today, Tuesday, June 20th, you know how we do it. We obviously want to focus on high impact events that will be affecting any of the financial instrument that we are monitoring for the week. And considering what we have on our bucket, we are going to be looking out for economic data from the U.S. economy, from the UK economy, and from Japan's economy. And for today, Tuesday 20th, the only high impact we have for today is coming in from the Japanese economic future, which is the monetary policy meeting minutes, which will be published. I think that will be much more later in the day. So everyone will be looking forward to what that data is going to be like. But I'm of the opinion that the policy is still remaining unchanged based on what weather has been saying in the last couple of weeks as regards the monetary policy in the Japanese economy. But we are going to be looking forward to that, especially on the USDJPY. We obviously want to see how the market will be anticipating this event, looking out for technical patterns and structures that we are going to be using to position ourselves appropriately ahead of this event. So that is that on the economic calendar for today. And remember that we are also looking forward to two key features coming from the UK economy and the US economy tomorrow. that is the consumer price index, and the Fed chairman also will be doing his testification before the House of Congress tomorrow. So these are very, very high impact event that is very likely that we begin to see reactions in anticipation of that event today. We might be having some choppy situation go on, or price action going into a range bound, just like it has been doing since the beginning of the week. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. So I can see some comments. Okay, Philip A, good morning to you. Thank you very much for that feedback. Jonah Haruna, good morning to you. Okay, thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate these feedbacks as they go a long way in helping us to have a better experience out here. Thank you very much. So with that being said, let's dive into the business for today. And as usual, the first commodity we are going to be taking this morning is going to be the USOilSPOT. And on the USOilSPOT, we have seen a very interesting situation here since the beginning of this week, where price has been a little bit on the bullish side here. And let's look at what we saw at the beginning of the week that made us to decide to buy the USOilSPOT. And mind you, if you had not watched my video on the USOilSPOT for the weekend, please try and watch that video. Like I said earlier, I have the link right in the description box of this current video. So try to watch it so that you can have a background knowledge of how we got to this point. And it can also help you to make your independent decision using the information you will gather in that video. So right here yesterday, this is what we saw on the 1 hour time frame. So the first thing we observed was this bearish gap, which gave us an insight into the nature of trading activities during the course of the weekend, giving us a clue that there was selling momentum in the market. And at the beginning of the week, we saw how price action started the week on a bearish note. It started at around the $71.45 level, dropped into the $70.85 area, like you can see here, giving us a support line for the week. And then we saw price action come back into that resistant line one more time. And you know, when we see this kind of situations in the market, it gives us a clue into the level of indecision in the market, as price action is range bound. And with that situation we had there yesterday, we already had a simple flat channel to work with for the week. And you know how we do it. Whenever we have this kind of simple setup, we want to wait patiently for structures to mature. And this is going to come in the form of either a breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell, or the breakout of that new resistant line we identified to give us an opportunity to buy. And during the live session yesterday, I told us all, even before the live session, I discussed this. I shared this on my commentary on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, that we want to be having a buy stop order above the resistant line to capture any bullish momentum there, and a sell stop order below the support line here to capture a bearish opportunity. And besides this range we identified yesterday was the fact that since last week's trading session, we saw here how price action has been bullish, finding higher highs and higher lows. And as a result of this, we were able to connect the series of higher lows to give us a couple of trend lines to work with for this week. And with this situation here, you know how we use our trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains above the trend line, we have no other choice than to look out for buying opportunities. And if we're already in the buy position, obviously we want to feel comfortable in that buy position. And if you look at what has been happening here since the beginning of the week, it is quite obvious that price action has been on this trend line. But there is a caveat to this current market structure. So if you zoom into this current structure here, remember we had this buy position triggered after the breakout retest of this level happened yesterday. And in fact, price action moved over 60 pips in our favor before we were taken out of that position with a modest amount of profit, because I mentioned here on my public platform that we obviously want to be moving all our stop losses to secure the current buy position. And if you had done that correctly, you would have been taken out with some small profit, or at a worst case scenario, break even. And as soon as price came back into that zone, I told us that we are going to be going back to status quo. That is, we are going to be going back to our initial plan for the week, where we will be having a buy stop order above the resistance line and a sell stop order below the support line here to capture any trading opportunity. And for the fact that price still remains above that trend line, I don't think we should be considering selling at this point unless price action do break down that trend line here. But one thing that is of concern for me in this market at this point is the fact that the $72 area, remember, if you had watched my video on the USOilSPOT, was our key level for the week. How we identified this level, where we said depending on how price action reacts to this level will determine if we are going to be buying or selling this commodity. Though price action remains below our key level at this point, but the reason why we are buying is simply because of that trend line. So we need to be very, very, very careful with this current market structure. And at this point, you will definitely be having a buy position running at this particular point in time. And before the live session, I told us all that we want to be moving the stop loss on this buy position to our entry point to secure this position. So at this point, if you have a buy position running, well done to you for being on standby to catch that one. You will be with about 30 pips in profit, but I'm advising at this point, kindly move your stop loss to your entry point right now just to secure this current position, just in case price action will be dropping to the downside, taking us out of that position. And if it does, the worst case scenario will be at break even. So move all stop losses to secure position. And the reason why I'm saying this is simply because of the obvious here. We have been seeing selling pressure around the $72 area. So we need price action to break out of the $72 level, taking out all the sell positions along this key level to give us the confidence that this bullish momentum we are witnessing is going to last long for this week. So let's see how price action plays out on the USOilSPOT. So for today, we still remain bullish as long as price action remains above the trend line. Let me highlight it for you so that you can see both this trend line, that is one, and the key level sitting at the $71.45 level. So let's see how price action plays out. We want it to be above this level to feel comfortable in the buy position we are right now. So you might want to mark these levels out of your chart so that you can be able to use them as a reference point when you're about to make your independent decision, or you could screenshot my screen so that you could be easy to get in touch with the move. Zach Z, good morning to you. How are you doing today? So if there is a buy stop, will its stop loss will be the sell stop? I don't understand what you mean here. So if there is a buy stop, will its stop loss will be the sell stop position, right? I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Zach Z. Please kindly rephrase that statement so that I can get a better understanding of what you are talking about. I will be checking the comment section to see what you're saying. All right. Okay. So with that being said here, with the absence of no questions, I want to assume we're on the same page. So I will be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. And the next instrument we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the GBPUSD. So on the GBPUSD, we have been selling this instrument since the beginning of this week. And one thing about this structure, let's look at how the week started for us on the GBPUSD. And please watch the video. The GBPUSD pair is right in the comment section of this current video you are watching. So you might want to watch it so that you can have an idea of how we got to this particular point. So at the beginning of the week, we saw this range where we identified that price action was initially caught within the 1.28375 and the 1.28100 level. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We obviously want to wait patiently for structures to mature where a breakdown or breakout of that area will be welcoming an opportunity for us to either buy or sell. And this was exactly what we saw during our live session yesterday. I told us all that we are going to be having the sell stop order below the support line of that range that is around the 1.28100 level to capture any bearish momentum at that point, which we actually did. And later on during the New York session, I shared an update where I added another structure right around the 1.28020 level to capture another opportunity to sell. And if you had done that, we had a situation here where price action moved over 40 pips on the first position and about how many pips on the second position? About 30 pips on the second position, giving us a total of about 70 pips thereabouts before this buy pressure resumed. And you know how we do it when price action significantly moves in our favor. We want to be moving our stop losses to secure the current sell position. And if you had done that, the worst case scenario you would have gotten there is a break even. So it was quite a good start to the week, though price action is still very choppy. The market still remain risk averse. As you all know, we have a handful of high impact events from both of the economies, that is the UK economy and the US economy for this week. We have the Fed chairman's certification, which will go to be starting tomorrow, and we also have the CPI data for let me see where that one is. So we have the CPI data from the pound, and then there is the interest rate decision coming up on Thursday. So it is very normal that we should be seeing price action going into a range as participants are looking forward to a catalyst that will help decide where price action is likely going to be going. Now, with the situation we have here in the last 24 hours, it is quite obvious that we have been noticing some buy pressure around the 1.27700 level. As you can see, though we saw the week started on a bearish note, we saw a bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower highs. And remember, we said here yesterday that this trend line is going to be serving as our yardstick to guide trading activity for this week. And what do I simply mean by that? So as long as price action remains below the trend line, we shall be looking out for selling opportunities and at the same time feel comfortable in whatever sell position we are in. However, if price action breaks out of this trend line, then we are going to be looking out for opportunities to buy. But for the fact that price remains below the trend line, we need to be very careful. Looking out for selling opportunities is the main idea at this point. But one thing that negates this possibility in this particular juncture in the market is the fact that as soon as price action got into the 1.2770, we saw our buyers jumped in to negate the seller's attempt at that area, which is a sign that we might likely be seeing that level as a buy niche. Then the same thing happened this morning again. As you can see, during the early hours of today, we saw another sharp rejection of that area. Then at this point, I shared an update this morning as regards to this. Let's run through the update before we go into the details. So this is my Telegram, my TradingView platform. And I also shared this on the Telegram platform too as well. So this morning I said here, okay, so yesterday I told us all that, okay, this is how we took advantage of that one. We added more position here. So I said we are going to be having a sell stop order below the 1.2802, which was triggered. As you can see, price action moved very well. And then we saw this happen this morning. So this was my commentary this morning on this instrument. So I said here, the emergence of buying pressure above the support line at the 1.2770 after multiple unsuccessful attempts by the sellers to breach this level indicates a potential bullish momentum for today. Therefore, if there is a breakout or retest of the descending trend line and the 1.28020 level, it will present favorable buying opportunity at this point. So let's go back into the live chat here and let's explain what I talked about here. So I was saying here that we have seen continued buy pressure around this area, and then price action gradually approaches the bearish trend line, that descending channel that has been supporting the bearish momentum since the beginning of the week. So at this point in time, if you look at the structure closely, it appears that price action is gradually transitioning into a reversal pattern. The inability of price action to break down the previous low at this point is a sign that a bullish momentum is gradually building up. And if you look at this from a visual representation, we have the impulsive move to the downside. We saw price come back into the 1.28020 level, drop to the downside. Price was unable to break the previous low, and at this point you can see price is back into that area, giving us a simple setup that looks more like a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And you know how we do it when we start seeing situations where price action is gradually evolving into a reversal pattern. The next thing we want to be doing is to identify a neckline which we are going to be using to guide our trading activities going forward. So with the neckline situated exactly at our sell entry yesterday, that is around the 1.28020 area. And one interesting thing about this level is the fact that it also shares a confluence with that bearish trend line we identified earlier. So it's a very important confluence we have here. So what we will need here to buy the GBPUSD is to see price action take out all the sell positions along the trend line. Then at this point, we want to start considering buying the GBPUSD. So if you see a breakout of this structure, we want to scale down into a lower time frame. Look out for retest of structure confirming that sellers are finding it difficult to drop back below the descending trend line. Then at this point, we want to be buying the GBPUSD for today. So this is how we are going to be buying the GBPUSD. So we have two key structures that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity. So you want to mark this trend line out on your chart. And then we want to mark the 1.28020 level out on your chart. So a breakout retest of this level on our lower time frame will be giving us the privilege to be part of the bullish momentum at this particular point in time. So let's wait and see how price action plays out. This current candle right now is still looking a little bit volatile as price action is moving up and down. So we are going to remain patient and wait for this candle to close. I think we still have it. We still have about 26 minutes for this candle to close. So depending on how this candle closes will determine what our next line of action will be. But trust me, I'm always with you in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. So in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity in this market, you know how we do it in this community. We also want to ensure that we keep tabs with the potentials of the sellers too as well. So if selling opportunity comes in, of course, we don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So based on this current market structure, what do we want to see on this chart that will make us to change our bias from bullish to bearish? Now, if you look at the structure closely, the first thing you observe here is that the 1.2770 level has been a very strong buying niche in this market, at least since the later part of the New York session yesterday, giving us a clear sign that that area has a strong memory for buying power. And if we go to the far left here, you saw what happened around that area on Friday of last week. We saw the breakout of that area. We saw price action retested that level. So there is a traces of buy pressure around that area. So if we are going to be selling the GBPUSD today, sincerely speaking, I would rather want to see price action take out all the buy positions around the 1.2770 to give me a signal that we are going to be going bearish. Now, after the breakdown happens, you know how we do it. We scale down into our lower time frame to look out for retest of structure, where we look out for selling pressure, that is inabilities of buyers to maintain a bullish momentum above this level. Will welcome the opportunity we are looking for to sell the GBPUSD. So at this point in time, for me to sell the GBPUSD, I would rather see price action take out the buy positions along the 1.277 to give me that opportunity to buy. So that is my view here on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I think I have some comments already. Okay, Kingsley, how are you doing this morning? Good morning to you. How are you? All right. Okay, Zach Zess says, okay, it will be good if you can show some stop loss of those buy stop breakout retest positions marked in the chart. Well, as regards your stop loss, it depends on your account size. So I'm talking to quite a wide range of people who are benefiting from the signals I'm sharing. So my purpose here is to give you an idea of where you want to enter. So it depends on your portfolio size. So if you have an account size of $5,000, you can afford to have a stop loss of 100 pips or 50 pips on your account. But if you have an account of $50, of course you wouldn't be able to have a wide range of stop loss. So all these positions I'm sharing here might not be okay for you depending on your account size. So in that regard, a one-on-one basis will be most preferable. If you want to have that kind of advice, then you can contact me one-on-one and we can discuss about that. But from this current situation we have here, it is more of identifying buying and selling opportunities. And depending on your account size and depending on your preference, you can place your stop loss wherever you think. What we are doing here is to identify where and what structure we want to see that will make us to buy, and above what level or at what below what level are we going to be selling. So this is basically what we are doing here. I hope I made myself clear, Zach Z. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to, okay, I saw a comment here. Sahid, good morning, Sahid. 30 minutes chat. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. 30-minute chat. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Said. Please try to rephrase your statement, please. Thank you. So with that being said, we shall be moving on to the next instrument. And the next instrument we are going to be talking about today is the XAUUSD. And on the XAUUSD, we had a sell position yesterday. If you remember, we had a sell position here after price action broke down the $1,953.50 level yesterday, and we enjoyed about, how many pips move was that? About 40-50 pips move before price action came back to entry point. And I gave an update again that we are going to be looking out for more opportunity, and that also happened. Price moved about 60 pips before we were also taken out of that position. And if you had moved your stop losses accordingly, you will definitely have been taken out with some small profit or a worst case scenario at break even. Now, going into the London and New York session today, what is going to be our plans? Well, the first thing I would like to state here is that let's acknowledge what really happened at the beginning of the week that made us to sell the XAUUSD. So we saw a situation here between the 1,958 and the $1,953 level, where price action was initially ranging at the beginning of the week. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple range, simple flat channel. Of course, we want to be having our sell stop order either below the support line and our buy stop order above the resistance line to capture any opportunity to trade this commodity at that point. And with our sell stop order below the structure, we had our first sell position. We had price action come back to retest structure to give us another opportunity to be part of that move. But one thing you would have observed here is that that area around the 1,948 and the 1,946 has been a strong buying niche since the beginning of the New York session yesterday. And one thing I was able to observe here is that the inability of sellers to break through this structure might likely be a signal that we might be seeing a bullish momentum. We're not jumping into conclusion at this point in time. It's just a projection, but we'll still need some confirmation to happen before we finally open a position on this instrument. So now, with the situation we have since last week Friday, you will see that price action is looking a little bit bearish after we connected a series of lower highs. So we have a couple of trend lines here to emphasize the strength of the sellers at this particular point in time. And one thing I shared there this morning on my commentary, let's look at that quickly together. So on the XAUUSD commentary this morning, I shared this about an hour ago. So I said here, let's see. Okay, so I said here that in the past 16 hours, sellers have encountered challenges in surpassing the price range of the 1,948 to the 1,958 zone. This situation indicates the emergence of a potential reversal pattern. The possible neckline for this pattern is expected to be around the $1,953.50 level, which coincides with the descending trend line that has guided our trading activities since the beginning of the week. Now, even before that one, I told you here that kindly be aware that if the price action fails to break below the 1,948, thus interrupting the bearish momentum, there is a possibility of a reversal pattern emerging. Consequently, it becomes crucial to watch for buying potential above the 1,953 level. Now, this is what I was trying to explain here yesterday. So you can see what has been going on here since yesterday's trading session. Though we have a bearish momentum looking market structure, but the inability of price to successfully break through and remain below the 1,948 is a source of concern at this point in time. And with the situation persisting, I'm looking forward to price breaking out, retesting the 1,953 to give us an opportunity to buy the XAUUSD today. So we already have a breakout already of the trend line, and of course the 1,953 level, we already had a breakout of that structure. So a retest at any point in time will give us an opportunity to buy. So at this point in time, we can risk a buy position around this area or place a buy stop order above the 1,953, where our stop loss, depending on your portfolio size, should fall around the 1,948 here, so that you can give room for price action to breach. So stop loss could be around that area while we continue to monitor price action above the 1,953. And we have multiple entries here, multiple levels where we can use it to maximize the potential of this bullish move. So we also have a structure here at the 1,960, which happens to be our key level for the week. A breakout of that level will definitely welcome more opportunities to buy the XAUUSD today. So that is how we are going to be looking out for buying opportunities. So we want a breakout of the trend line to happen, retest of structure, after which we want to join a bullish move. However, if price action continues to the downside, and then we see a situation where the breakdown of the 1,948 happen for the second time this week, then we want to wait patiently for structures like retest of structure on our lower time frame to give us a confirmation to sell the XAUUSD today. So let's keep this in mind. Mark these levels out on our chart and wait out and see how price action will be reacting to the zone. So our center of focus for today is simply between the 1,953 and the 1,948. So let's mark these levels out on our chart and wait out for trading opportunities to mature. So Kingsley Bieku says he wants you to go to the 30 minutes time frame. 30 minutes time frame. Why do we want to go to the 30 minutes time frame? Our analysis here is on the 1 hour time frame. It's only when we start seeing structures that probably we don't have a specific point of entry that we can now start considering going to a lower time frame. But at this point in time, what we have here is quite enough for us to be able to trade this. So we're having a buy stop order above the 1,953 right now to capture this bullish move, as we already had the breakout of that structure. So what we are going to be doing now is just wait for the breakout, for the buy stop order to be triggered before we can join this move to the upside. I hope I made myself clear, Kingsley. All right, so we shall be moving on to the last instrument for today. So the last instrument we are going to be taking for today is the USDJPY. So we already have a sell position triggered right now on the USDJPY. I hope you have that position triggered. So this is what we saw here this morning as regards to, at the beginning of the week. We saw here our price action was ranging initially between the 142.00 level and the 141.500 area. Now, with the situation we had here, you know how we do it. Whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel, we want to wait patiently for structures to mature, which will either come in the form of a breakout of the resistance line to buy the USDJPY, or the breakdown of the support line to buy the USDJPY. And in fact, we bought the USDJPY yesterday, and you can see we really do not have any traction around the 142.00 area, as most of the trading hours of yesterday price action was just ranging around that area, giving us signs that sellers might likely take over this market. So our buy position at this point was topped out in a loss right now on the buy position. I shared this update this morning as regards to the USDJPY. So let's open that and look at it closely. So we had a loss already on the USDJPY right now as selling pressure resumes in the market. So I told us here, even before I went to bed yesterday, I mentioned here that our buy position is currently running at break even as price continues to hover around our entry zone. This serves as a clear indication of the buyer's determination to break the 142.00 level, which happens to be both our key level and resistance line for the week. However, it is important to note that we won't overlook the potentials of sellers in this scenario. As a result, we have established a new ascending trend line to provide guidance for our trading activities moving forward. And in addition to that trend line, I was able to identify this 141.750 level. So we saw the situation go on this morning. So I said here that the current buy position is experiencing a loss of approximately 12 pips as buyers face challenges in surpassing the key level of 142.00. Given the situation, it is important not to overlook the potential impact of sellers if they persist in the pressure around the key level. We will closely monitor the price action for any signal. So at this point, I shared here that we are going to be having a sell stop below the 141.750, where we want to capture the bearish move to the downside. And if price breaks down, retests the trend line, of course, it's what we are looking forward to selling opportunities. And with a sell stop order below the 141.750, we already have a sell stop order triggered at this point. So we saw the breakdown happen yesterday, and then price came back to break down that structure. And in fact, it also broke down this bullish trend line for the first time in the last 4 to 5 days now. So for me at this point, let's hold on to a bearish bias, as we can see here that buyers were unable to break out of the structure in the last 24 hours, and continued selling pressure around that area is a clear sign that we might likely be seeing a further bearish move to the downside. So with the situation here, for those who are taking advantage of this move, well done. Our stop losses, of course, should be above or around the key level, which will be dovetailing to between 15 to 25 pips stop loss, depending on your portfolio size. And let's see how this is going to play out going forward. And then we have the privilege of adding more positions here if price action goes on to break down the 141.500 level. So these are the key levels we are going to be using to maximize the potential of this bearish move to the downside. So that is my view here on the USDJPY, and that is the last instrument we are going to be treating for today. If you have any questions, let me take the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before I draw the curtain for today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page here. And on this note, I would like to call it a day. Now, I'm going to be sharing a link on my public platform in about an hour from now as regards to the XAUUSD live, which I will be broadcasting from today going forward. So you will be seeing how we take advantage of the trade. So you'll see the chart live, so you can also position yourself in line with us as we continue to monitor price action on the XAUUSD. So I'll be sharing that in a moment. So stay tuned in on my public platform. Don't miss out on that one. And let's see how this will go. So I wish you best of luck during the London and New York session today. And I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.